What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Legit Whiskey Reviews, and today we'll be tasting and reviewing Starlight Distillery. So today I wanted to do a little something different. I wanted to go over a couple of Starlight Distillery's bourbons. So Starlight Distillery has been around for a little while now, maybe I think since they were established in 2001. And they do all kinds of, they don't just do bourbon, they do gin, they do vodka, they do rum, and of course they do bourbon. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and they're from Bourbon, Indiana. So Indiana, you think MGP, but no, this is not MGP at all. So this is a farm that's been around for a couple hundred years, I believe. And the guys that started the distillery, I believe they were two brothers. And if you notice in all of the bottle, a lot of the bottles, it'll say Carl T. Huber's signature, and then it'll say straight bourbon whiskey. Carl T. Huber was their grandfather, so they chose to name the distillery after these bottles after their grandfather, who was a fourth generation farmer. So like I said, this farm's been around for a long time, and what's cool about this distillery is that everything that goes into the bourbons is grown right there on site on the farm. So I thought that was really interesting. And another thing that's really cool about it is that they're super transparent in their bottling. So the one I have here on my right, your left, is this is the Indiana straight bourbon whiskey. So this one here comes in at 92 proof. It's aged 4 years. And what's cool about it, like I said, is that everything is in the back that you would need to know. So this is a blend of their 3 and 4 grain mash bill. So the 3 grain mash bill is 60% corn, 20% rye, and 20% malted barley, and their 4 grain mash bill is 51% corn, 20% rye, 20% malted barley, and 9% wheat. So there's a lot going on in that one, and I think that's pretty cool. So like I said, everything that goes into the bourbons is grown right there on site on the farm. So I really like that. And the one I have here on my left is the bourbon whiskey, and it's finished in port barrels. Now this one's a little bit higher proof. This one comes in at 106.8. It is aged 4 years, and then they finish it in the port barrels for an extra 8 months. So yeah, I thought this was really interesting. As far as availability for the Starlight Distillery products, it's really spotty. I know in my area I can't really find it. In other states it's pretty available, so it just really depends where you're at. So you might just need to do a little bit of hunting to be able to get this. But like I said, they have the port finish, they have their regular bourbon. They also make a sherry finish, which I really wanted to have for this review, but I just could not find it. They also make a rye. They make, I believe they make cask strength versions of the bourbon. And they do all kinds of finishing. I know they have, like, I believe it's a blackberry whiskey also. So they just do all kinds of stuff, and like I said, they have all kinds of different spirits that they do. So what I wanted to do today is kind of like go over this bourbon, taste it, review it, and just to see what I think about it. And then I wanted to go over the port barrel finish as well, just to see what the differences are and see which one I like best. So I'm gonna start with the 92 proof bourbon. This is the Indiana straight bourbon whiskey, and when I'm looking at both of these, one thing I do notice right away, which is to be expected, is the port finish is way darker than the regular bourbon here. But I'm gonna go to the nose on the regular bourbon. So one thing I noticed when I first opened this bottle up, it's been open for a couple of weeks now, but one thing I did notice when I first opened this up, oh, by the way, the pricing on these for the regular bourbon, it's $35, and I believe the port finish was around 45 or 50 bucks maybe. I'm not too sure about that, but all right. So like I was saying, one of the things that I first noticed, which I thought was weird because like I said, this is 4 years old. Usually you get that in older whiskeys. One thing that I was really picking up on the nose and in the palate when I first opened this bourbon up was a strong leather note. I was getting a lot of leather, but that's kind of like, as the bottle's been open a while, that's kind of gone away a little bit. I still get that leather note, but it's turned more fruity. So, but it's like really bright. I feel like the youth does come out a little bit in the nose, but it's gotten more fruity, but like brighter fruits. I'm getting like a light apple note coming through now, along with that leather. There's maybe like a little bit of caramel coming in here. It is pretty spicy. I think, let's see, the rye. So yeah, it's a pretty high rye content. It's 20% rye on both the 3 and 4 grain mash bill. So that definitely comes through on the nose. I'm getting a lot of spice, but it's not overly sweet on the nose, but I'm getting a lot of sweetness. And like I said, that bright, like light fruit, that bright apple is definitely coming through on the nose. So the nose, I don't feel like there's anything special about it. I feel like it does smell a little bit crafty. And the youth does come out a little bit. I think it's a little bit spiky, but not bad. Not like to the point where it's kind of a turn off. It's nothing like that. I just feel like you can tell the youth is there, and but there's nothing special about the nose, but what's there, I feel like it's pretty good. I like what's coming through on the nose. But let's go on the palate on the bourbon here. Cheers. So as far as the palate, I don't feel like the sweetness doesn't come through as much as it did on the nose. There's still sweetness there. I feel like on the palate, I'm getting more like that caramel note, and the apple did come through, but not as much as the nose. I feel like on the nose that apple really shines through. But what did come through on the palate is the spice. There's a whole lot of spice going on in the palate here, just like the nose. So I feel like as far as the palate, that did transfer over from the nose to the palate, the spice. There's a good amount of spice, and I do like that in the finish because I feel like it adds to the whiskey. I like a finish with a spicy finish, and I feel like there's enough in the front part, mid part of the palate to keep it interesting. Still, I can't say that there's anything special about it, but there's nothing off-putting or bad about it. I feel like it's enjoyable, and I feel like it's accordingly priced. For 35 bucks, I feel like, especially for a craft distillery, I feel like that's a very good price, and and it's enjoyable. So yeah, I really like this one. I'll go back to it in a little bit, but now I want to go to the port barrel finish and see what this one has to offer. Like I said, this one is 106.8 proof, so nice proof on it. And like I said, it's way darker than the regular bourbon. All right, so let's go to the nose. Oh yeah, so so this is like night and day on the nose. You can tell that this port barrel came from the regular bourbon, but just aging it 8 months in that port barrel, I feel like it just added a whole another layer, a whole other, just more complexity to the nose. So the first thing that really shines through on the nose in the port finish is very fruity, but I'm getting, when this one was like apple, like lighter fruits, this one I'm getting darker fruits. I'm getting a whole lot of raisin in this one. There's a lot of sweetness. The spice still does come through on the nose on this one, just like it did in the bourbon. And I'm not getting the proof for it being 106.8 proof. It's not coming through on the nose like you would imagine compared to this one. They're pretty much the same as far as like the proof coming out. And I feel like finishing in the port barrel really hides the youth. Like I said, this one's 4 years old as well. So I feel like that finishing really hides that youth note that I was getting in the regular bourbon. So like I said, I'm getting the caramel, the raisin, a whole lot of raisin, and a whole lot of spice also. But yeah, like I said, the noses on these are night and day, and I really enjoy the nose on this port barrel finish. But let's go to the palate on this one. Wow, this one's delicious. So as soon as I put it to my lips, just like the sweetness, it's on a higher level than the regular bourbon. Really coats the palate really well. Instantly I could tell that it was way thicker, more viscous than the regular bourbon. That raisin note that I was getting on the nose, I feel like I'm getting it even more in the palate, more of the sweetness. But it's not off-putting. Like I said, there's a lot of sweetness in this one, which I really enjoy. But I'm also getting that like rich, like caramel note, toffee. But I'm also getting a lot of spice and pepper on the finish on this one. And this finish on the port barrel finish is just lingering, going. So yeah, this one's super enjoyable. And I know, like I said, I know they make the sherry as well, which I was trying to find for this review. And I can't wait to try the sherry finish, because I heard that one is even better than this port barrel. But as far as these two, yeah, the port barrel is the one to go with. This one is pretty damn good. It's super enjoyable. So I'm gonna go to this one more time, and then to the port barrel finish, and then I'll give my final thoughts on this. And also, one thing I noticed, both of these, the more you let them open up and just sit in your bar, and then you go back to them, I feel like the more air gets into them, which happens to a lot of bottles, but especially for these, I feel like they change, and they change for the better. So I feel like just have patience with these, especially just the regular bourbon, because they do change for the better. Even sitting in the glass, just from when I went to the port and then now back to the bourbon, I feel like while I'm getting the same notes on the nose, I feel like it's more, they're coming out more, like they're more pronounced now that I go back to it. So yeah, this one smells really good too. But yeah, just coming off of this port finish, yeah, so it's just night, like I said, it's night and day. It's just, this one is very good. I feel like it's solid, especially for the price and what they're doing over there, but just, it doesn't compare to this port finish. Let me go back to the port finish. Oh man, yeah, so the longer you just let it sit in the glass, it just gets thicker and richer and sweeter. Yeah, I really like this one. Yeah, more of that raisin, toffee, spice, caramel, pepper. Yeah, so this one's super enjoyable, and I feel like, yeah, it's very viscous, and it coats the palate really well. I really like that part about it, and the sweetness to go along with the finish. The finish just lingers on, so they knocked it out of the park with this port barrel finish. So as far as my final score, I'm gonna give this one, the regular bourbon, I'm gonna give a B. And for the port barrel finish, I'm gonna give this an A. Just amazing. They really did a good job, and I can't wait to try more products from Starlight Distillery. But what I've tried so far, like I said, I'm pretty impressed. These aren't super old whiskeys, but you can tell that what goes into it is grown at the farm. You can tell that there's care. They take a lot of care and a lot of pride into what goes into these bourbons, and it comes through on the bourbon. So I really enjoy these. So yeah, so this was super enjoyable. I can't wait to see what else they come out with, to try more products from Starlight Distillery. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be amazing. So if you guys like my content, remember to smash that like button. Remember to subscribe. You guys can catch me on Instagram at LegitWhiskeyReviews, and keep it legit and do it for the love of whiskey. Cheers.